Okay, Jaima, here we are. Okay, so we were discussing last time about Hinduism as a religion, and to make the example of the difference between Hinduism and the Abrahamic religions, we were talking about vegetarianism. Okay. So, as we were saying, Hinduism doesn't have commandments or rules. It has principles. And these principles are scientific and ethic principles. The Abrahamic religions follow the commandments or propose the commandments. Some people follow, some people don't follow, but that's a different thing. The Abrahamic religion proposed commandments because God said so. Or the prophet said so. Or the priest and the authority or whatever said so.
I do understand.
This is not acceptable in Hinduism.
Because you have to, I guess, introspect if it is a prophet, or you need to try and understand why they're saying those instructions.
In Hinduism, we just need to understand the value of the teaching itself. Not who said it. Because in the Hindu tradition we have, I don't know if you heard about Chanakya Pandit.
No, sorry.
No. He is famous for having written the Arthashastra. Okay. So he said, one of the famous quotes from Chanakya is that one should accept a good instruction even from a fool. One should take gold even from a dumpster. Because the point is not who said it or where you got it. The point is the teaching, the idea, the principle, the concept is valid in itself. Okay, so Hinduism, or better we should say Vedic knowledge, because there is a difference between Hinduism and Vedic knowledge, and we're going to discuss it more. But in Vedic knowledge, how we determine the value of a teaching. We measure each idea, each teaching, each concept, whatever, based on the fundamental principles of dharma and vidya, which is ethics and science. If it is scientific, we can verify it, we can, check, we can understand why it's a valid point or not. And if it's ethic, it means our conscience will tell us if something is good or bad. So, in Hinduism we have these two principles, dharma and vidya. Dharma means conscience of good and bad. Okay? The good things, the basic natural laws of ethics. And vidya means the actual scientific knowledge of how things actually work. Objectively. Doesn't matter who said it. However, the general idea of religion based on the Abrahamic faiths is based on faith. Means I believe that this is the word of God. So whatever the word of God says, I'm going to believe it and to obey it. And this is very easily manipulated by bad people. while the Vedic principles cannot be manipulated by bad people. So in a sense, lots of people, lots of Hindus especially, say that Hinduism is not a religion.
Yeah.
In the sense, it's not based on faith. It's not being founded by any prophet or whatever. It's a scientific fact that many people have seen, verified, experienced. These people who have seen, verified, and experienced are called rishis. Sometimes generally translated as sages.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly correct. Rishi means someone who has seen the facts, the reality. The word rishi comes from the same Sanskrit root of darshana. The verb is arsh, to see. So a rishi is someone who has seen the reality. We can compare Hinduism or Vedic knowledge to mathematics, of which you should know something, I guess. Okay. So mathematics is not an opinion.
Yeah.
It's not a religion. You don't believe that 2 + 2 makes 4, sorry. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's not that 2 + 2 makes 4 because someone said it. Newton said it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Pythagoras said it. No. We remember Pythagoras and, Euclides and Newton and whatnot. Not because they invented something.
Yeah.
But because they saw something. They recognized a reality, an objective scientific reality. So the rishis of Vedic knowledge are like the scientists, are scientists.
Yeah.
Who just saw the reality and described it for us. They're teachers.
Yeah.
But they're teachers who actually know what they're talking about. Many teachers are just repeating what they heard, and they don't really know what they're talking about. But a real teacher is someone who actually has the direct experience, and he can, he sees, he, has realized what he's talking about. Okay? This is a huge difference. And this is regarding vidya. Regarding dharma, which is a word that includes all the natural, eternal, universal principles of ethics. That's not something that the Abrahamic religions have. Because when you talk about the natural ethics to religious Abrahamic people, they say no. The natural ethics are relative. The word of God is absolute. It doesn't matter if you feel it's right or wrong. Because what God said, what the prophet said, is much more important. In fact, there is a quote from the Quran that I found a few days back when I was writing an answer on Quora. And I don't remember exactly the verse. Okay. But it's literally saying that God knows better than you, and even if there is something you don't like or you don't feel right, God knows better, so you have to follow what God says.
Yeah.
Okay, this is obviously, showing that they don't care for dharma. Let me see if I can find the quote easily, otherwise we'll just drop it. But I can find it out. I can find it. It's not so difficult. Let me see. But you understand the problem.
Yeah.
So there is a big difference. Now, whether you can call Hinduism religion or not, that depends on what you mean by religion. Right?
Yeah.
So, what you mean by religion, the word religion, I think we mentioned before, but the word religion comes from a Latin word that means religare, which means to connect.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Let me see. Right, we have... we're talking about doing war, waging war and, being nice. Or not. So there is a number of quotes. Yeah, here it is. This is the section 26 of Quran verses. Maybe I can butcher the Arabic here because there is an Arabic quote which I don't know Arabic. Well, it's Kutiba alaykum kitalu wa huwa kurha hula hakum blah blah blah. Okay, so the verse is saying fighting has been enjoined upon you while it is hateful to you. But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you. And perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not. So basically, again, another verse of the Quran said, so if you gain dominance over them, means the infidels, in war, disperse them, those behind them, that perhaps they will be reminded. And you should consume what you have taken of war booty, which is lawful and good, because Allah told you to do so. So basically, the Quran said, Allah says you have to go to war, against the non-believers and kill them, disperse whoever is left, and loot and get your booty of war, and whatever you pillage is good because Allah told you to do so. And even if your conscience is telling you it's not good because those people I killed and I raped and I enslaved didn't do anything bad to me and they were suffering, and suffering is not good. Even if you think like that, you should listen to what the Prophet says because you don't know anything. Your conscience is not worth anything. Because whatever you think, it's, maybe you don't know, because, if what you feel is not what Allah says, what the priest, mullah, rabbi, whatever they say, this means you are wrong. So, that is why they're called adharmic religions. Because they don't recognize the value of dharma. They don't recognize the absolute value of dharma. They teach that dharma is relative. Means it's okay as long as your religion doesn't say the opposite. You follow this?
Hanji, Hanji. Yeah.
So Hinduism is not like that.
Mm.
Hinduism is also called sometimes, maybe not so accurately, it's called Sanatana Dharma, because it's the eternal Dharma that applies to all human beings. All human beings have a conscience. And their conscience, the conscience of human beings, tells them what is good and what is not good. You know, even animals have these feelings.
Yeah.
You know, when your dog sees that you are sad or you're being attacked, you know, the dog immediately understands what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
Abrahamic religions tell you this is your delusion. You don't know what is good and what is bad. Even if you go and torture and enslave and, you know, whatever, this is good because Allah said so. Or, you know, the prophet or Jesus or whatever, the priest said so. So you see the difference.
Yeah.
You know, it is a huge difference. The four basic principles of Dharma, the basic principles of Dharma on which Hinduism is based, that are known as Sanatana Dharma, are honesty, sincerity, compassion, purity, and self-control. There are also other principles of Dharma which are making an effort to improve yourself, you know, cooperate with others, which is not compassion, it's cooperation, which is harmony, you know, but it's not exactly compassion, you know, because compassion can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
Compassion is based on the realization that we are all connected. All life is connected. That's why we say we respect life.
Yeah.
If we don't respect life because we believe that, like, animals are not life, animals are food, or, you know, something like that, then we don't respect life. Because if you're not completely stupid, you can see the difference between a dead animal and a living animal.
Yeah.
If you say that there is no difference between a dead animal and a living animal, you're stupid. Either you're stupid or you're trying to, you know, or you're a cheater. You are trying to sell some you know, crap. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe because you like your steak, you like your hamburgers, I don't know. You know what? Animals are people. They're not just the dogs that you keep in your house and you know, you feed and you pet and you cuddle and you take to the vet. All the animals, you know, why you don't know how affectionate and intelligent cows are.
Yeah.
But because they told you that cows are food, then you are stupid, or, you know, you have bad intentions, and you try to say, no, cows are not individual living beings. They're not people. They're just food. But dogs are also food for some people. You know, historically, as we were mentioning, you know, still today, there are, you know, markets like in China or Korea or something where they, you know, they sell dog meat.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference? But you know dogs because you have, adopted a dog. Maybe you purchase it, but, still you're treating it like a child. You're not treating your dog as food.
Mm.
Maybe you're treating it like a toy, but it just doesn't work, because animals who are treated in this way, they become alienated. They can lose their mind.
Yeah.
They can become crazy, just like human beings.
Yep. 100.
So, and this is, what we were saying last time, which I can just summarize. Now, last time when we interrupted, because it was a long, discussion, we were talking especially about the eggs, which are not that bad, because they're not developed animals, so they don't have a nervous system, they don't have a brain, they don't have a mind yet. Okay. Yeah. But even if an egg is not fertilized, so it doesn't break the ethical principle of compassion, but it's unclean. It's not clean. It's not a pure food, because it's an excrement. So you were asking last time if the meat is toxic.
Yeah.
Okay. Meat and fish are not toxic in themselves. They're just not suitable for the human body. But they can become toxic very quickly, because they decompose.
Yeah.
And the decomposition generates toxins.
Yeah.
So when something is rotten, even if it's a vegetable food, plant food, if it's rotten, it develops toxins.
Yeah.
You can put all the flavorings and spices and aromas and whatnot, but the toxins will still be there.
Yeah.
But the plant food doesn't rot so easily like the dead bodies of animals, mammals and birds and fish and animals. They're all animals, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so until now it's all clear.
Yep, Anji.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I guess, Mataji, I suppose, like with meat, it's a part of the.
Can you speak in the microphone a little stronger?
Yeah,
because I cannot hear you very well.
Is that better, Mataji?
Maybe a little bit. Okay, tell.
Okay. So I was just thinking, with meat, okay, it's part of the animal body, or the internal organs or
which
whatever you
also
want to
are
call
part of the body.
Yeah, which is but I'm just thinking with eggs. I do understand what you mean. It's the excrement, but I mean, once it's cleaned and everything like that, does that?
Okay, we have two different meanings of excrement. Yeah. What you're talking about is the stool, which usually is on the egg shell because it comes out of the hen's asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then you say once you clean it, okay, you can clean the poop away from the egg shell and you can cook it. But the egg itself is an excreta.
I see.
It's an excrement. you cannot, if you have a piece of coal, you cannot brush it and wash it to become white.
Yeah.
There is no clean end of a turd.
No, I do understand what you're saying, because, like, I mean, forgive me for saying this, but, like, some people, when they eat certain meats, it's like the genitals of an animal as well.
Yeah.
There's some, is that on the same kind of level as...
No, it's not on the same, I mean, from the cleanliness point of view, it's more or less the same. Like, for example, more than the genitals, you're probably meaning the intestines. Because usually they don't eat the genitals of the animals.
Oh, is it? Okay, maybe
not
that's
much.
My lack of understanding.
But they eat the innards. Like, for example, you may have heard this, Scottish delicacy that is called a haggis.
Oh yeah. That's the real,
Yeah. So you take the stomach of the sheep, and of course you clean it up.
Yeah.
And then you put stuff inside, whatever, grind, whatever you want. But there are, recipes, similar recipes in different cultures. Like, for example, in the culture where I was born, in Italy, we have very famous dishes made with animal intestines.
Hanji.
That are variously called, for example, in Italian it's called trippa, in Milan it's called cassola, and in Rome they're called paiata.
Yeah.
But it's the intestines of the cows.
Yeah.
It's just exactly the same recipes. Maybe they're putting a little herbs here and there, but it's the same ingredient.
Yeah, I do see what you mean. I suppose, like, with animals, some animals, okay, it looks like God's putting them on the earth to, like, for example, cows and goats, to give us milk. I was thinking, like, with eggs, is not in the same category, is it, I guess?
No, because the milk is the food for the baby.
Oh, okay.
Cows and sheep and goats can, still have some milk to give to their own babies. This is done in the Vedic system. In the Vedic system, when you milk the cows, you keep the calf there. So the calf must be there. So the cow is happy to give the milk. You don't dry the milk completely from the cow. You leave sufficient milk for the calf. Let's say you take half of the milk.
Yeah.
And then you let the cow take whatever milk is left. And that is usually sufficient, because cows can give birth to 2 or 3 calves.
Yeah.
So when they give birth to 1 calf only, there is still 50% or 30, 60% of milk that is not used.
I see.
And when this excess milk is not used, the body of the cow stops making it.
I see.
This is exactly like human beings, females, human mothers.
Oh, yeah.
Human mothers can have 4 babies at the same time.
Yeah.
Rarely, but twins, 2 babies at the same time is quite common.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens? The fact that because the human mother have 4, you have 2, not 4. The cats and dogs have more than 2. The cows have 4.
100.
Human females have 2.
Yeah.
So normally that should be okay for 2 babies.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So if instead of having 2 babies, you just have 1 baby,
You
the
got a lot of
baby can
excess
take
milk.
only 50% of the milk that the mother can produce.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens? The mother produces less milk, produces just the quantity that is taken away, usually, normally, regularly. So this is how much milk the body knows how to make, to produce, because that's what the baby needs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And in the case that the baby for some reason cannot take the milk, like, I don't know, doesn't digest, I don't know, whatever, or the baby dies, or the baby has to go to the hospital, and or it is fed, let's say, fed with a bottle, with the formula.
Yeah.
What happens to the mother? Mother stops making milk.
Yeah. And
it's not coming back.
Yeah, so I guess, Mataji, the milk is kind of like a gift to humanity, isn't it? From
Exactly.
God is. Yeah.
As I was mentioning last time, 20, 30, 40 years ago, when in India we still had, a little bit of Hinduism left, you could see the cows roaming freely and, giving milk to anything, practically speaking, from dogs to pigs to monkeys to children, human children, they are okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you go and try to steal the eggs from any bird,
they
will get angry.
Yeah.
Even if the eggs are not fertilized.
Yeah.
Because that's the instinct. The egg is the baby.
Yeah.
Whether the baby is actually born or not, for the bird or the reptile, because also reptiles have eggs, all the animals who make eggs, they have the same instinct. The egg is the baby.
Yeah.
So, we can be vegetarian based on ethical reasons.
Yeah.
And take the milk especially if the cow has been treated properly.
Yeah.
Nicely. But there is no way to treat the chickens nicely to eat the eggs.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, the chickens have become completely stupid. So they are completely alienated and they don't care if you take the eggs. Because they are never allowed to have children, so they don't know what the chicks are, what the egg is. They lost the natural instinct.
Yeah.
But human beings have done things like that to all animals. Like, you may remember the mad cow disease.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. A few years ago, there was this horrible disease that was the, turning the brain into a sponge, making holes into the brain.
Yeah.
It's a kind of, bacteria. Okay. And they found out because it was passed to human beings who were eating, the cows, so they also got the same symptoms. They got brain damage because of these bacteria. And they went to find out why these bacteria had developed. And they found out that they have been developed for the first time in cows who had been fed animal remains of slaughtered cows.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
I didn't know about that yet, but I know about the mad cow disease. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what they were doing to, save money,
Yeah.
the farmers were buying protein powder
Oh yeah.
from the industry. This protein powder, you can imagine what it was.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay as long as you feed it to fish, for example, or to pigs.
Yeah.
Because, it's okay. I mean, sheep also can develop the disease, but it's, chicken. You cannot feed it to sheep. Because you cannot feed it to herbivorous animals. Who normally eat only plants. Actually, they eat grass.
Yeah.
Okay, but you could feed this protein powder, for example, to chicken and to fish or to pigs, because these are not herbivores. They're not animals who normally eat plants.
Yeah.
Fish can easily eat each other.
Yeah.
They don't have any problems.
Yeah.
Pigs, they also, they even eat human beings.
Okay.
They eat each other and they are known to eat human beings. Sometimes, if a farmer in a pig farm, went into the pigsty and then, had some problem like, heart attack or just, too much smell, just stinking too much and lost consciousness, they fell down, they were eaten by the pigs.
Oh, God. Wow.
And pigs have no problems in eating their own children. In fact, the pig, the she pig, is called a sow, a female pig, the mother pig. Sometimes when she has too many children, because, the mother pig makes milk, but, how many teats she has, not sufficient sometimes. So, if she had too many babies, she's choosing the ones that are weaker, because there is always someone who is weaker.
Yeah.
In a litter of pigs or dogs or cats, So the mother chooses the weaker in the litter and eats it up. But that's not cruelty. That's ensuring that the other siblings can have a better life.
Yeah.
In the same way, wolves do the same thing in the wild. Of course, we're talking mostly about the natural instinct, okay? Because,
Yeah.
So the wolves do the same thing. If a puppy is deformed or sick or too weak, the mother kills it and usually eats it. This is why Mother Earth is compared to a female pig, to a sow. And this can also apply to human beings. Like last time we were mentioning that, human beings can eat raw meat. It's not the ideal diet. It's just like human beings can eat, sugar candies.
Yeah.
Like these, white sugar soda, pops, or, totally artificial food. Okay, they can eat that, but it's not going to be very healthy. But they can. It's not exactly toxic. So, for example, there is one region in the north of Russia, north of Finland, you know, that area, just below the Arctic circles, in the Arctic circle, which means it's very cold. And there is a city called Utusk. And the average temperature there is minus 40 degrees Celsius. Okay. And there is a city, this Utusk city is more than 100,000 inhabitants. And the tribes also have been living in that area for, you know, long time, centuries, maybe even thousands of years. So what do they eat beside ice lollies?
Yeah, it's got to be fish and
It's gonna be fish, and especially because it's not near the lake or the sea, they eat baby horse meat.
Yeah.
Why? There is a reason, and they explain. You know, that at the time of, there is one moment in the year when the wild horses give birth.
Yeah.
And usually they give birth to excess babies.
Yeah.
So the people in that area, they catch the baby horses in excess.
Yeah.
And they kill them and they eat them. So, you know, in that sense, the human beings are predators that are careful not to deplete the prey. In that case, eating meat is justified because it's within the natural laws.
Yeah, because I suppose if they didn't do that, they wouldn't survive, would they? So
exactly, you know, and neither would the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a balance. It's scientific balance, and it's an ethical balance.
Yeah, yeah.
So in a sense, it's a balance of dharma and vidya.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, they don't have anything else to eat.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes they get some milk from the horses.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes once a year they got some berries. Because there are some, you know, very hardy plants that, you know, maybe when the temperature, instead of going minus 40, it goes about 0. You know, the shells are making an effort and make a few berries.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they don't have anything else. You know, if they want to eat something else, they have to import it.
Yeah.
Which is not always possible. So basically, you know, the main thing they're eating is horse meat. And because it's so cold there, they don't need much in the way of refrigerators.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they just dig a hole in the ground, you know, outside the house, or they keep some box outside the house, and they leave the meat there, and, you know, like frozen, no problem, all the year round. Until the next year, 1 year will be sufficient. You know, and same these you know, tribal people like the Sami and the Eskimo, you know, all these people who are living in near the sea.
Yeah.
You know, they eat a lot of fish and stuff, raw usually, because they don't make fires, because there is no trees. There are no trees to make fire.
Yeah.
So of course you have to eat raw fish and raw meat when you get a seal or a polar bear, if the polar bear doesn't eat you first. Because it happens,
And
so in that type of scenario, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If a Hindu had to live in a situation like that, it will be okay to eat whatever you need to eat.
Yeah.
It's not a sin. It's not against the commandments.
Yeah.
And the same thing we know from the Shastra, from the Puranas, the Upanishads, the stories of great rishis who actually, in case of emergency, they ate meat. It's not a problem. Did you hear about Vishwamitra?
I'm sorry, no, Martin. Yeah,
Vishwamitra Rishi is a big character in the Vedic tradition. You know the Ramayana?
The Ramayana, yeah.
Ramachandra, okay. So the Ramayana, the story of the Ramayana starts when, I don't know if you watch a TV serial, something, a film or something. So it starts that, Dasharat had 4 sons and blah, 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 blah. So in the beginning of the Ramayana, Dasharat is there sitting and explaining to his sons what dharma is, what is the tradition of their family, what are the duties of the king, and so on. So while they're sitting and talking like that, Vishwamitra Rishi appears on the scene, arrives. Vishwamitra. Yeah. So, because he is such a great Brahmana and Rishi and Sadhu and everything, everyone is giving pranam, everyone is welcoming him, worshipping him like a big saint and sadhu, like that. And Vishwamitra says, okay, I've come to ask, talk to the king, I've come to ask you one favor, and Dasharatha says, oh, of course, anything, because that's the duty of the Kshatriya king, okay?
Yeah.
To give charity, to give donation, whatever, is needed, the Kshatriya has the duty to give.
Yeah.
And Vishwamitra says, I have come to ask your son Ram to come with me because I am doing some ritual, some stuff, and there are some Rakshasas who are constantly disturbing the yajna by throwing meat around.
Oh, okay.
Blood and meat and bones and whatnot. So I want Ram to be there and push back these Rakshasas so I can finish my ritual, my meditation, my religious practices, in cleanliness, in peace and serenity, cleanliness and, purity and everything. So this is Vishwamitra. And in fact, Rama goes with Vishwamitra, does his job, and Vishwamitra takes him to the city of King Janaka, Mithila, where the daughter of King Janaka, which is Sita, who is called Janaki because she's a daughter of Janaka, Sita Devi is looking for a husband. Okay, so Vishwamitra is an important fellow. Right? Is recognized as a big saint and pure Brahmana, Rishi, whatever. But there was a famine, and Vishwamitra ate a dog.
Oh, yeah.
But he made all the ritual with, and offered the meat of the dog to the devas and everything. And the devas were a little perplexed, but, it's okay. Another time, if I remember correctly, Vishwamitra even ate a cow.
Yeah.
But that's not the normal thing. He ate the cow because cows are food or dogs are food.
Yeah.
Because there was an emergency.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
You know, so we have a scale of application of dharma and vidya.
Yeah.
It's not an absolute commandment. Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's a principle. So you can apply the principles, you know, in the best possible way, and that's okay.
I suppose as long as you stick to the principle of dharma.
Exactly. As long as you know, keep up, you know, the common sense, the intelligence of applying the principles according to time, place, and situation.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that many people cannot understand.
Yeah.
Because they are still stuck with the idea of commandments. Because if you break a commandment, you go to hell.
Yeah.
But this has nothing to do with Hinduism. There is a concept of hell in Hinduism, but it's not the same idea of the abrahamic ideologies.
Yeah.
You know, hell in Hinduism is called narak.
Yeah.
Know? And it's a type of nightmare. You know, that a criminal suffers, you know, due to the guilt, to his own sense of guilt.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious is not going to be convinced by bullshit arguments such as animals are food. You know, the subconscious knows it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why many people are so angry against the vegetarians and the vegans.
Yeah.
Because, you know, their subconscious is telling them. You know, so they feel the need to attack, to defend themselves from their own subconscious.
Yeah.
Like if someone is saying, oh, I don't eat meat because I don't like to kill the animals, if you get angry with them, that's not healthy. It means you have problems.
Yeah.
It's just like if someone tells you that, you know, they like, you know, dresses of the yellow color. Okay. You know, why should you get angry? So it's not an issue. You know, they can, you know, dress the color they want.
They like,
you know, they can eat whatever they want. If someone is telling you that, you know, he likes to eat bread instead of, you know, rice or pasta or whatever, you know, okay, well, you know, what do you like best? You know, so if they invite you for lunch, they don't preach to you that you're stupid because you're eating bread.
Yeah.
You know, or what? It's okay, you like bread? Okay, you know, that's bread for you. You know, they don't mock you. You know, they don't attack you. They don't try to convince you. They don't preach to you that, you know, you're wrong or you're so wrong. You know, what's your problem if I eat bread?
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely no problem for you. Why you're so hot and bothered about it? Because your subconscious is telling you that you are, you know, a criminal.
Yep.
So, you know, but this is very common. Very common, especially these days. You know, in old times, like 40, 50 years ago, people didn't even know what vegetarian mean, you know, or, you know, not to speak about being vegan, you know. Vegan, the word vegan was invented less than 30 years ago.
And
before that, it was just vegetarian.
Yeah.
You know, and vegetarian, it was only a very small percentage of people who are completely irrelevant in society.
Yeah, and
So there was not so much, what to say, hostility.
yeah, yeah.
Now, the idea of vegetarianism has become more trendy because of the environmental situation, environmental problems, and the lack of resources on the planet, and pollution, and you know, factory farms, you know, because until 50, 60, 80 years ago, not everybody was eating meat, especially in the Mediterranean area.
And
You know, they were eating meat once a week, maybe.
and
Because they couldn't afford to kill all those animals.
yeah,
You know, the farmers, you know, they were mostly eating eggs. And once a year, they were killing the pigs. And they were making cured meat. Like bacon, ham, you know, lard, like that. That could stay the whole year, so because they were killing the animals once a year only. You know, and not 365 animals to have one for each day of the year.
Yeah.
You know, they were maybe killing 2 or 3, maybe. You know, some small farms are killing 1.
Yeah.
You know, and chickens, you know, maybe they was killing 1 chicken a week or a month when the chicken was not giving so many eggs anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were, you know, eating the male chicken who did not give eggs. So they were waiting for the male chick to become big enough. You know, that, okay, this Sunday we have coq au vin, you know.
Yeah.
We have the you know, roast chicken. But they didn't regularly eat meat because that would be too expensive.
Yeah.
People were eating more in a way of like bread and aged cheese.
Yeah.
Because again, they were milking the cows, they were making the cheese, and the cheese can stay years. Just like ham and bacon.
Yeah.
So they were eating beans and sausages. in Britain they call them bangers. I don't know if people you know, can stop a moment to think about the meaning of that, but okay, that's horrible, but okay. But these types of preserved meat were smoked and kept for a very long time.
Yeah.
They were not killing a pig every day to make sausages. You know, they made sausages, they were hanging them on the roof and the ceiling, you know, with all the smoke from the chimney and whatever. You know, they were keeping, you know, happily for 1 year. So now and then they were cutting one from the rafters, and, you know, okay, we have in the soup, we put it, you know, but that's all. So the problem of being vegetarian was not so bad, you know, because people didn't eat much meat. The people who were eating a lot of meat were the very rich people. And again, your microphone is disappearing.
Oh, is that better, Martha?
Yeah, much better. So these very rich people who were eating a lot of meat were very sick. They had gout, uric acid, excessive uric acid deposits. They had very bad metabolism, they became very fat.
Yep.
They couldn't digest properly, and usually very rich people would die young because they were going to kill each other or go to war or being killed by their own family due to, this greed, succession, heritage, inheritance, and whatever. But, the farmers that were stronger, and they had sufficient food to eat, they were not eating meat so much. They didn't have so many cholesterol problems, colon cancer problems, because eating meat is not good for human beings. As we have seen, the body, the digestive system, especially of human beings, is very different from the digestive system of the carnivorous animals.
Yeah, very different.
So if you keep putting the wrong type of fuel into the tank of your car, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
Even if the car will somehow run, but, you're going to develop problems. And these problems have been highlighted when people started to eat more meat. More people started to eat more meat, and especially factory farms meat.
Yeah.
And, you go and ask now the vegetarian society, any vegetarian society, but lots of doctors as well are going to explain to you why it's better to eat plant food. You go to any GP, any general practitioner, a physician, doctor in the private or public system, and they will tell you eat more vegetables.
Yeah.
They will not tell you eat more meat because that's great for your health. They will not. They will say eat more vegetables, more plants. All these heart diseases, cardiovascular diseases, they have been explained for at least 20, 30, 40 years as a consequence of excessive cholesterol. And cholesterol is only contained in animal food, animal fat.
Yeah.
Cholesterol is animal fat. So, you see, this is the picture.
Yes.
And, as we were mentioning the other time, there are also some, a few other considerations, like, for example, the difference of, perspective that Hinduism has in respect to nature.
Yeah.
In respect to women, in respect to children, in respect to society, in respect to government, so many aspects of life. Hinduism is not exactly a religion.
Yeah.
Because it's based on ethics and science.
Yeah.
So, this is why, being a Hindu is fundamentally a very different thing. Now, of course, the fundamentals are one thing, and what people do are another thing, can be another thing.
Yeah.
That is why not everyone is called a fundamentalist. What is the meaning of the word fundamentalist? Have you ever thought about it?
Fundamentalist. Fundamental, and something is fundamental is basic, isn't it?
Exactly. A fundamentalist is someone who actually follows and applies the fundamental principles or teachings or ideology that they are practicing, that they identify with. So a fundamentalist Christian, actually is someone who actually knows what's written in the scriptures, in the Bible, in the Gospels, in the whatever are considered fundamental points, fundamental teachings or concepts or ideas by the authorities of that religion, which means the scriptures and the teachers. Not what the people think. Because if an ideology doesn't have sufficient material political power, it cannot impose fundamentalism. Because, people just don't care enough. Because fundamentalism is sometimes very difficult. And in the cases of adharmic religions and adharmic ideologies, it's also ridiculously absurd, preposterous. Just like in the Bible, in the Old Testament, is saying that you should not wear dresses of two different fabrics. It's like, why should I? Why should I follow this idea? It's stupid. But if you want to be a fundamentalist, you have to actually follow what your religion says. Otherwise, you're just, it's like people who say, I don't know, I just work here. I was just born here, I don't know. That person is not a fundamentalist because he doesn't follow the fundamentals. This is for Christians, so the same is for Muslims and for Jews, and the same. So a fundamentalist Muslim is actually following and applying what the scriptures, the Muslim scriptures and the Muslim religious authorities teach, which may not be ethical and may not be scientific. But it's not our problem to establish that. We just want to explain what fundamentalist means. So someone who is a Muslim but not fundamentalist is actually not really a Muslim. Just ask his mullah. They will tell you, no, this, Samir is not really a Muslim. Yes, Abdul Kalam was not really a Muslim because, he was friendly with Hindus and he appreciated Bhagavad Gita and he was not killing all the kafir and, whatever. But the Muslim authorities say that was not really a Muslim. So it's not a matter of opinion or choice. You can choose whether to be a fundamentalist or not. But you cannot choose what a religion is teaching. Because the actual religion is teaching this and that. If you want to say, no, the religion says, Christianity says that you should love your neighbor. Where is that? And how has that been applied in Christian history in the last 2,000 years? especially by the Christian authorities.
Thank you.
Then we dig and we find out that you should not kill your neighbor or steal something from your neighbor if he's also from your same religion, from your group. But you can kill and rob and enslave and whatever people, your neighbor, if he's not from your group.
Yeah.
That's what they have done regularly, for the last 2,000 years. So it's not a matter of choosing, because the people, the Christians who have done these things, these bad things, these crimes, were not fringe Christians, were not very serious Christians.
Yeah.
So, of course, in all religions, in all groups, you will find people who are more serious and less serious. But, while in abrahamic religions, people become worse persons if they actually know and apply their own religion. In Hinduism, people become better people if they actually know and apply their own religion. So you see the difference.
Anji.
It's a huge difference. You cannot compare them. You cannot say, oh, they're all religions. Oh, Hinduism is also a way to control the population. No, it was never. If there are people who pass themselves as Hindu or Hindu authorities, and they say that, they behave like they want to control the people through religion, you can easily disprove them with the Shastra. Easily disprove them. It's not that you have to go and find some, obscure verse that may be meaning something else. It's very clear. The first step in Hindu religion, in Vedic knowledge, Vedic culture, is that we have to overcome the delusional idea that we are material bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, once you are there, you apply that, you see, all the problems in the universe, in the planet especially, will be automatically solved.
Anji.
Because there will be no enemies. We are all one. We are all part of God.
Yeah.
So why should we try to fight or, oppress and exploit each other? Everything is part of God. So that's the only way you can actually have respect for life, for nature, for each other, for society, for human beings. Otherwise you cannot, because if you think you are the body, so you are different from your neighbor, you cannot love your neighbor.
No, that's right, Martin. Yeah, we're all part of the same kind of source, isn't it?
I don't know, is that too much?
No, that's good. That's good, Martin. It is helpful, really, really good, to understand that, because, as human beings, we are not different, are we? We all...
But living beings, all the jivas, all the atmans, all the living things are life.
Yeah. You can't think, this God's just only looking after this group, or...
Exactly.
And the rest are just
then again, as we said last time, there is an important distinction we need to make about self-defense.
Yeah.
Because, of course, all life is life, but if some forms of life are attacking you, you have the right to defend yourself as a form of life.
Yeah, definitely.
So the principle is not going around and bothering people and waging war on people just because they are different from you. The principle is that if someone is attacking you, okay, you can defend yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And that applies to human beings, to animals, to plants, to corporations, to ideologies.
Yeah.
You know, you have, each one of us has the right to protect himself, herself, themselves, and their subordinates, like your family. You know, the self-defense is not just you, it's also your family.
Yeah.
You know, your property, your planet.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone is attacking you, you know, if you fight back, you're not a terrorist.
Yeah, yeah, of course, man.
You're not a violent person who doesn't respect life.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a criminal, you're just defending yourself and yours.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, that's why if we can avoid killing a spider, if the spider is not creating problems, so you find a spider in your bathroom. Yeah, sometimes they get there. You know, if you put mosquito nets at the windows, more difficult.
Yeah.
You know, but that's usually for mosquitoes. But spiders are also kept out by mosquito net.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have mosquito nets and you leave the windows open, the door open, anything can get inside.
Yeah.
You know, spiders, snakes, like in India, for example, we had such a variety of biodiversity.
Yeah.
You know, you leave your windows and your door open, you can get anything. You can get a cobra inside your toilet.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you know, I don't need to go anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. You know, yeah. But spiders, you find a spider which is not poisonous, you know, because there are lots of very, you know, innocent spiders. They're just eating the mosquitoes and the small flies and midgets and stuff like that. So they're not bad people, you know. They're not attacking you. They're not a danger for you or for your family. So you can, you know, trap the spider and just throw it out. You say, okay, spider, you're not welcome here. You know, go away, find another place, because here we don't want you to stay here.
Yeah.
You don't need to kill them.
Yeah.
If it's a poisonous spider, it's better to kill it. Because who knows? You know, you try to trap a poisonous spider and they bite you, and you know, and then you have to go to hospital because your hand has become a, you know, a balloon, you know, a football.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, an infection, and you know, sometimes you can even die. There are spiders that when they bite you, they can kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, the tarantula and stuff like that. You know, people, you know, spiders like that, they can actually kill you. You know. So
you have to look at the situation.
Yeah, you have to see what the situation is. You have to consider the degrees of application of dharma, of the ethical principles and scientific principles of self-defense.
Yeah.
It's not that you kill the spider because it's just a spider. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, because, okay, so you're just a foreigner. Who cares? You're just a woman, who cares? You're just an infidel, who cares? So, isn't that the same?
Anji.
So, the first vegetarians in history, you know, were preaching according to those principles. So, Pythagoras, you know, and who became famous because he was one of the strongest vegetarian preachers in ancient times. But also Leonardo, Da Vinci and, other big people who were vegetarians, they were saying, why when you're eating animals, you're killing your compassion, your own sense of compassion. Because today is an animal, tomorrow is a child, or a sick person, or an immigrant, or a poor person, a homeless person. Who cares? They're not important, they don't matter, they're just, a nuisance.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Now, the Vedic ideology, Vedic teachings draw the line at self-defense.
Yeah.
So if anyone is coming to you with deadly weapons, you have the right to kill them.
Yeah.
Before they kill you, not after they kill you.
Yeah.
Before they kill you, because after they kill you, there's not so much space for action.
Yeah.
But before they kill you, if you see that they have real, dangerous weapons, if they're trying to, put fire to your house, or they put poison in your water or in your food, or or they attack you, they kidnap some member of your family, or whatever, they take away your house or whatever, you have the right to defend yourself and your family, and you have the right to kill the aggressor, the attacker.
Yeah.
That's the line. You cannot kill someone because they are gay.
Yeah.
Because what's your problem?
Yeah.
But Christianity and Islam and Judaism, they say that God said you need to kill the gay people. Even if you think it's not right, you have to do it because God said so. You see the difference?
Anji.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
And of course, we are not saying that people who were born in a certain situation must be identified with the ideology of their community.
Anji.
We can also say that if the people who identify with an abrahamic ideology, they have to change that identification. If they still want, for example, if someone wants to remain a Christian, theoretically, and have their own idea on Christianity, it's like Christ is a cosmic consciousness, and said, love your neighbor, Christ is love, Jesus loves you, and whatever. But then stop saying that God wants you to kill gay people.
Yeah.
Because, it's either one or the other.
And
so if you want, I've been thinking about this for some time already. I want to write a book about how to, sanitize abrahamic religions and make them dharmic. It's possible. Yeah. Because, for example, the Christians, they had the Gnostic Christians, which were the original Christians. Jesus himself, he was a vegetarian. And he was, he was a Nazarite, it means they were not eating meat, they were not drinking wine, they were not having illicit sex, they were not, raping people, they were not pillaging, they were, they're just very, quiet and peaceful people, and, and the Cathars, I don't know if you heard about the Cathars, probably not.
No.
But the Cathars were descendants of these early Christians that were considered heretics, so they had, they were kicked out from here and there, and finally they landed in South France in the 12th century, 11th century, 12th century, like that, and they settled there. And the church organized the first crusade against them, not against the Muslims. The first crusade organized by the church, the Christian church, was against the Catholics, the Albigensians, because they were vegetarian. Because they didn't recognize the authority, the absolute authority of the Pope. They said, who is the Pope? Who cares about the Pope? So we need to go back there. And these people were Christians. They had their idea about Jesus Christ, but they didn't accept the Pope. They didn't accept the Gospels. They didn't accept the Bible. But they were Christians. They had their own Gospels, which were saying something very different. So, luckily, in the last 50, 70 years, we have been able to know more about these early Christians. Thanks to the discovery in 1946, I think, if I remember correctly, of some very old manuscripts that were found in Egypt at Nag Hammadi. And these manuscripts were buried in a cave in around 200 of in the year 200, around 200 of the present era. And they were very different. They're a totally different idea of Christianity, which is something we could save. If someone wants to be a Christian, okay, read the Gospel of Thomas. Read the Gospel of Mary. Because they're much better Gospels. And just ditch the Pope. Who cares about the Pope? Pope is nobody. He's a politician. So that's how Christians can become dharmic. If they want to remain Christians. Okay, we can do that, no problem. But they have to stop doing things against dharma and vidya. Because otherwise they're ruining the planet. They're ruining human society. They're ruining the whole thing for everyone. Okay, so I think we had about 1.5 hours.
It's been good, Martin. It's been good to...
So you're okay with what we said? Okay, you have questions, objections, points?
No. I'm just digesting everything myself. I'm trying to learn because I'm trying to understand. While the differences, which is it's good to know that what the differences are, and as human beings, I guess we can think for ourselves. Think what is
we have to. God gave us intelligence and a conscience.
We have to think. What's right, what's good, for us, and definitely.
Okay, so maybe next time we will talk about the stories, like you were mentioning, the weird stories, like in the Puranas.
I definitely.
Weird stories. No, that's not believable. How can that happen? Are you believing these stupid things? Okay, this is next.
No, definitely,
next time.
That sounds good. I would like that.
Thank you. Okay then. For today, we can stop here, and I'll put the video on the channel, YouTube channel. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thanks to you. Thank you so much. Jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Jama.